welcome to NSN Connect from National Skills Network. This is the 6th episode of the series Reigniting the Skilling Landscape in India, a series of conversations with Rajesh A R, CEO, LabourNet. So in this episode, we are going to look at transferable skills and how informal workforce has been able to switch jobs with the help of these skills. While it is very common to see the informal workforce switching jobs and growing horizontally in their careers into adjacent industries, we also have to explore how we can help this workforce with a set of skills for upskilling and reskilling so that they make it aspirational to build their careers. How is the digital, social and financial identity of the informal workforce connected with skilling? Isn't this an intriguing question that we should probe further? So questions like these form the focus of this discussion with Rajesh, and let's look forward to how we can formalize the informal sector through skilling and upskilling, and how we can make it aspirational for them to grow in their careers with the skills they have, and how continuous learning can be imparted to them. People today are taking up these part-time jobs and gig jobs for various reasons. And one thing which came out very clearly in the way you explained was the need to take up multiple jobs in a lifetime. So gone are the days when, like, again, I'll go back to our parents, they worked in the same organization, and for them promotions were the only way to see that they grow higher in the career ladder. Whereas today, I think we all have the freedom to choose and to do whatever we want. But across these, I think I'll try to give you one situation perhaps where let's assume there are people working in the beauty sector, okay, trying to maybe they get started at a lowest level as assistant beauty assistant, or whatever job roles these are called, and then from there maybe they don't want to continue in that. After a while, they want to move to a closer industry, which is, let's say, entertainment industry, because entertainment industry also needs makeup artists, but not the kind of beauty work that they were doing in a beauty parlor. So slightly this related industry, and maybe from there they want to, now that they have done a lot of makeup for interesting makeup and things, they want to go higher in this. Maybe they want to learn more, whatever degree is available professionally, they want to get that. So there could be pathways like this for people, or there could be people who are working in hospitality, and then they realize that, okay, I think I'm good as a tourist guide. Okay, maybe I'm good at, I want to learn more about this place. So this tourist guide wants to enroll in a program which is talking about history of that place, geography of that place, right? So they can do this, they can move places, move jobs. But don't you think there is something like a set of transferable skills which are very important? And how much of importance are we giving to these skills today?
So let me try answering that question in a different perspective. An economic activity happens at a pin code, okay, or a cluster of pin codes. If that cluster of a pin code gives that beautician which you spoke about, to move from a beauty therapist or who's just doing, or helper who's just doing helping in threading or waxing, and can do facials, tomorrow can do hair coloring, can move up the ladder to earn better, can set up a beauty parlor, then he can move into spa, can move into this. If that set of pin code gives that particular person enough ammunition to grow for lifelong, a vertical progress is always good. Okay, because at every stage he or she is earning better, and recognition comes along with it. And I'm assuming that you acquire skills through your education, work experiences, apprenticeships, etc. So that we can talk on. But what happens is, if I have been stuck to a pin code for whatever reason, like you keep saying that you can't migrate out of Hyderabad, or you can't migrate or something out of it, and you want to grow economically higher, then you need to look at not in the same industry or a same thing. And you mentioned about adjacencies. A beautician looking at entertainment industry, or a beautician looking at a fashion and jewelry industry to sell more. You look at adjacencies and you try growing horizontally. There are live cases, right? I mean, during the COVID, a lot of people who were selling current accounts and savings account for various dealer sales, that is banking card DSAs, were out in the market with delivery apps, giving delivery food, that is in terms of working with your delivery app companies, delivering packets as delivery boys, etc. Just because they had a bike and a driving license. And it has nothing to do to have the understanding of a domain of financial services. It is because of this. So some of those skill sets which they had was interoperable to a new environment which was coming in, and then they could do it. Maybe tomorrow the ASHA workers or ANM can become a phlebotomist with some level of reskilling, and they can get attached to a whole lot of growth which is happening in the healthcare industry for blood collection, etc. So it is reskilling for a same horizontal part. Now, as a gig worker, how do we approach it? If now look at the example of the creative side which you spoke about. They create something called as portfolio, right?
Yeah.
So a gig worker should create a portfolio at every point of time, because it is no more a lifelong learning. It is at that point of time work. So how do you create a portfolio? Portfolio has, let's take 4 major pillars. 1, what is my price point I will offer? What are my skill sets and materials available with me? What are the markets which is that is like, I have a jewelry, I can do what are the markets which is all coming into it? And the 4th is, what is my socio-economic reasons for doing or not doing? Based on this, you create a portfolio, and then you market that portfolio to that particular pin code depending upon where you are or what you want to do. So a construction, that's the way invincibly a construction worker is able to become an agriculture worker. By a current account, saving account sales guy is able to become a delivery boy, or able to do a data entry work for COVID, that is during the pandemic kind of a thing. So these are possible because in their mind they have created a portfolio and they are approaching their network to get more jobs.
Yeah. You're speaking more for the informality or the informal sector, right? But I think without formalizing this, don't you think there will not be much scope for these people to get out of that vicious circle of going round and round in the same pay package or in the same environment, which may not be, because because in every talk of ours we are looking at making things aspirational. So where is the aspirational element coming into all this?
Oh, interesting. So let's take a life of a carpenter. Okay. And carpenter is considered as an informal sector. Like, you want in your house some furniture to be fixed, you'll call a carpenter. You'll go to the nearest hardware shop, you'll say carpenter bezo, or you'll ask the security guard to figure out a carpenter and send it in. And how do you pay him? You pay him by cash. After he fixes the job, you encourage him by paying by cash, or because he's for 500 rupees, etc. And what happens is informality breeds.
But these days we pay with Google Pay and
I'll come to that, because if it is 300, no, he encourages to take it by cash. Okay, because that's the way his mindset is, and he will say, if the moment you pay through a Google Pay or this, the formalization of cash economy happens. And he has to be then taxable according to the law of land, I mean, based on his income ceiling. Now, this was the way the informal sector was working. And again, let's go back to the bad ills of the informal sector, right? There was no continuity of work and there was no steady income. Now look at what happened post-COVID. Now you are ordering through an IKEA shop, Or you are going to an Amazon, or you are going to a particular furniture rental place and saying that, hey, I need this furniture to be repaired. Or you are going to a home improvement kind of a website and say, send me a plumber, like an urban cap or whatever, send me a plumber. Now then a carpenter is coming and fixing the same thing. Now you are forced to digitally pay an urban clap. Thanks to COVID, thanks to GST enforcement, thanks to whatever way it is, you're forced to do that. And the app company or the integrators are then forced to pay to that informal sector again through a digital economy with proper tax deductions, proper statutory deductions. So, and that informal sector guy, whether he's a carpenter, now he's working for IKEA, or when I say working informally in a contractor relationship, he's working with an IKEA or an Amazon or an X or a Y, and he's now seeing continuity of wage. If better than what is there today, still maybe not to that extent. Hence, he's ready to move from a informal to a formal environment.
Yeah.
With digitization, etc. So, what has just unlocked is a huge push, and thanks to macro indicators, GST implementation, thanks to your digitization, thanks to ease of using of UPI, thanks to proliferation of IKEA kind of or Amazon kind of deliveries, thanks to COVID, you have moved a whole lot of people from informal to formal. What number which you see from 15% of informal or 10 to 15% which is formal, all the statistics shows in the next 20 years or 10 years, this can go to 30 to 40%.
Oh, okay.
So that is the kind of wave which can happen. And I think that is a welcome move. In the short run, it will be painful because the arbitrage of taxes will die out. I mean, in terms of that GST, whatever was being an income. But I think you don't need this big value chain from, if somebody is buying you are buying a TV, why should there be a wholesaler and a dealer and a shop and a big value chain for you to reach it? I mean, that value chain will get crushed and margins will get protected. So it's a new way of working. But the point, what I was just trying to say is that the formalization of workforce is a reality. And in the medium term to long term, it is going to give a digital identity, financial identity, or a social identity to the informal sector, what we are looking
at. Okay, so now with the example you gave, I have a quick observation which I want to share. See, we talk a lot about online e-commerce and all, which is actually, I would say, strengthening this kind of formalization of few services, and like you said, bringing them into the fold of financial accountability and taxation and many things for a whole lot of people. So that is one part of the story. The second part of the story is the same furniture, the same FMCG goods or the same electronic goods. There are huge showrooms, there are huge malls which continue to exist, right? These two will continue to exist parallelly in India because India is such a complex country that it cannot be swept away by one e-commerce or one kind of a showroom. So in the variety of the kind of situation we are in, where sales happen through this, and if you extend the same example to people who are working, who have been working traditionally in those showrooms physically as perhaps again informal people, so do you think there is some scope for them also to get into this, or how do you visualize going ahead? Maybe if you can think a little futuristically on this development.
Yeah. So let us divide in three parts how a person, like working in a showroom, right? A person who's working in a showroom and doesn't feel, and there is an issue of growth in that particular area because of hybrid nature of work. It is not that showroom may get closed, but sales growth expected has now got deflated with a lot of Amazons of the world and other things. That particular thing, he or she needs to look at learning a new skill. I'm not talking about in terms of going to a campus kind of a thing, but how can I be an apprentice to a new skill which I can go ahead with? Because in a showroom, he's seeing a lot of people walking in. He may be a media guy, he may be a delivery guy, he may be a warehouse guy, he may be from logistics industry, etc. Which start the conversation with the people who's coming to buy it. And I'm just looking through his size. Pick up an area and go ahead as an apprentice. And why I'm using the word apprentice is, for an employer, taking that person with whatever experience as an apprentice is compliant with the labor laws of our country. He understands that world of work by being an apprentice. Okay. Then he moves, once he likes it, into a world of core work. That is, he's now working as an employee or working as a proper professional, working as whatever, as a thing. Now he's starting to earn from that particular thing. And after he spends some time in that particular core area, then he actually has to move to the third level, which is more of his aspiration, saying that now can I be an entrepreneur and engage few people in that same domain to take it off. So these three transitions, for first entering to the world of work as an apprentice, second, understanding that particular, being part of that particular domain in that particular world of work as an employee, as a partner, as a contractor, whatever way it is. And the third, being an entrepreneur, which is more aspirational in that particular thing, he can move it on. And if he just focuses on three of it is going to take these three stages to reach to his aspirational thing. I think this economy, he'll be part of a good, he can reap benefits of this change of economy or change of work which is happening.
Yeah, I think getting best of both the worlds, because one more thing that is happening, as we all know, is whether it's a local Kirana store, which is in the lane in which we live, or the big showrooms that are, on the main roads, I think all of them are also becoming suppliers to these big brands these days, because they are sourcing from what is known as the very local points, because of various reasons like ease of getting the stuff or whatever. So I think these people also will now be seeing a different kind of a world, not just selling directly to the customer in a showroom or the kind of things that they were doing in the past, but probably they would be selling it to an e-commerce agent or some e-commerce kind of a setup, where, because that becomes a sourcing point, and that might require a new kind of skilling, new kind of knowledge. And I think that's where apprenticeships of different kinds are also going to be very impactful. And Rajesh, please remember, we are going to discuss apprenticeships separately in another session, where I think you have a lot of experience in implementing the apprenticeship programs, and also you have seen how industry, from the industry side, from the HR side. So we are going to take it up in one of the sessions coming soon. So how would you now react to this? Let me give you an example from the days we have lived through. We have seen a lot of movies, we have heard stories where in movies like Naukri Lag Gayi, Naukri Mil Gayi, Permanent Ho Gayi, ya Permanent Ho Gaya was such a celebratory moment, right? That would, like you said, open up for a guy. Mostly for guys, it was like a chance to get married to the best person they get, or for a girl, it would have meant something else. So do you think this Naukri Mil Gayi, Naukri Permanent Ho Gayi is something of a past now, or is it going to come back in different ways?
So it depends upon which strata of society you live in. Okay. I have if I've just finished my MBA, and most of them gets addicted. The philosophy or the conditioning from the society is to get a monthly wage. Then it is like, hey, I got into this hedge fund, I got into this venture fund, I got into this X fund, or with such a high salary, working for somebody kind of a thing. Then for that set of people, that is going to be a big one. But I see a lot of people, even while they with NEP coming in place and a lot of those things coming in place, they may opt for a work integrated kind of learning. Then Naukri Lag Gayi kind of a thing will become more dampened, because they want to be master of their own time, efforts, and outcomes. So it depends on what kind of mindset which you are in. And when you go lower down, work is a necessity.
Yeah.
And today, if 50% of India is considered as an entrepreneur, they are an entrepreneur because of the sheer reason that without working, they can't live. They can't eat, they can't have a proper living. So for them, Naukri Lagay is like, today, did I get a Narega work or a X or a Y? So it depends on which strata of the society it is. I think the more we change this to a model of at how much I am earning, which is commensurate to my skills, these two parameters becomes a conversation point with all of the things. You'll see a lot of change, because a carpenter or a plumber will start earning better with reskilling, and now with the merging of skilling and education, if he is also able to get a educational alignment to it, you'll find a lot of changes. And it may not be Naukri Lagay, it can be something else. A new coin will come into for social recognition.
Because see, these images will keep coming back, right? Whenever there is a job, there is somebody becoming a permanent person in a certain job. So I think now going ahead, these things will change, and change, as you said, is something it cannot be enforced. It has to happen organically. But I think we can create an environment where some change can be embraced, and people can see this change as something positive and not resist that change. I think only when that happens, I guess we will be able to see the difference that we want to see. In this episode, you just saw that work is not an option, it's a necessity for those mostly who are working in the informal sector. And we see a lot of scope for skilling and education to play in the coming years to help them grow in their careers, to help them earn better, and also look for a decent and a sustainable and secure kind of a livelihood. We hope you liked this episode. We hope you got some important points from here. In case you want to share some points of yours or views or suggestions or comments, please do share them with us. We'd be very happy to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode, and we look forward to be with you in the next episode. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from us. Thanks a lot. I look forward to be in touch with you.